Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the show. We have covered a lot of ground this week. Obviously, talking about the NFL playoffs, the championship games that are coming up this weekend. We've also talked about college football, the national championship, and what was just an incredible championship game as the Indiana Hoosiers now reign supreme in the college football world. We've also talked about the NFL coaching changes. Obviously, all the changes that are happening at the top as far as head coaches are concerned, but there are a lot of assistant vacancies that will be filled in the coming weeks as well. So obviously the landscape in the NFL undergoing some major changes as we get a little bit closer to Super Bowl Sunday coming up that first week, or the first Sunday the 8th, I guess it'll be the second Sunday in February technically, coming up then. But in our last segment here, I want to highlight it's just incredible high school basketball feat that was accomplished just last week out in Arizona. First, I want to say, I played high school basketball. My career high was 9 points, and I am proud of that. And that may not be much mean much to many people, but it was a big deal for me. This young man, his name's Adrian Stubbs. He's from a school called Maryville High School out in Arizona. He's a 5'10 guard. He scored 100 points in a single game. That obviously set a new state record. He did it against a school called Kofa High School. And Stubbs, he did it in 3/4 of action. So it's an incredible story, but it really happened. And obviously it's something that you don't hear much about, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into. Ethan Pavey, who is one of our Sportscaster contributors, he joins us now with that story.
If I told you that someone scored a point every 14 seconds in a basketball game, you'd assume it was fake. But it happened, and it happened in high school. On January 13th, a high school senior in Arizona did exactly that, and somehow it still doesn't feel real. Adrian Stubbs, a guard at Maryville High School just outside Phoenix, scored 100 points in a single game. Not overtime, and not even a full game, but just 3/4. That's 100 points in 24 minutes. Let's do that math really quickly. That's 4.17 points per minute. Over a full high school game, that's 133 points, just too shy of the national record that stood since 1960. Stubbs had 70 points at halftime. His previous career high was 56. The Arizona Big School record was 57, previously held by former Golden State Warrior Nico Mannion. Stubbs passed both of these before halftime, and then, instead of heading into the locker room, he stayed on the court alone, shooting free throws because he had missed 5 earlier in the game. That's when you knew this wasn't accidental. You might ask, how many threes did he hit? And I would reply, only 6. That means over 80% of his points came inside of the arc or at the free throw line. He scored at the rim, in transition, in the mid-range, whatever the defense gave him. And the defense tried everything. Man-to-man, zone, box and one. Nothing worked. While Stubbs was on the floor, he scored over 90% of Maryville's points. When he checked out, the team scored 9 points in total for the rest of the game. On a normal night, Stubbs averages 6.5 assists, but on that night, Adrian wasn't giving up the rock. The final score was 109-25, and to be clear, this wasn't about running it up. The opposing coach literally told Maryville, keep playing, keep doing your thing. Stubbs hit 100 late in the third, sat the entire fourth, and walked off with the first 100-point game in Arizona high school history, and one of the fewer 20 ever nationwide. Here's the wild part. Adrian Stubbs currently has Division II offers. So this wasn't just a record night. It was a reminder. Whether you love it or hate it, 100 points is sacred in basketball, and Adrian Stubbs got there before the fourth quarter even started.
So how about that? 100 points in a single game. That was Ethan Pavey from Sportscaster.com with that one. Now, you remember, you talk about 100 points in a game. I think a lot of us think, especially if we're associated with the NBA, remember when Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points. That was back in March of 1962 with the Philadelphia Warriors. There's that iconic picture of Wilt holding up that piece of paper in the locker room. It says 100 on it. Remember, that happened before the three-point line existed. That's still an NBA record. But to see that happen on the high school landscape out in Arizona, just an incredible feat, an incredible individual feat. And I hope you took something from that story. So appreciate you guys tuning in this week, as we always do. And we're looking forward to another important week coming up next week, where we'll cover some more ground. I want to thank all of our guests who we've had on. Brooke Lane from Davison High School, thanks for being on. Carter Lutz from the University of Miami. Cooper Schoenberg from Indiana University. Our thanks to the guys from the Analytics Sports podcast you can catch on sportscaster.com, talking to Emil Asaf, Brendan O'Donnell, Ethan Love, and Spencer Grant, and also Ethan Pavey for his story about Adrian Stubbs from Maryville High School, who scored 100 points in a single game. All right, you can catch us every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock here on WJR. I'm Johnny Kane with Sportscaster.com's Open Mic. Until next week, Godspeed.